Okay, so Zeli Tan will talk about new E3SM capabilities from improving coastal modeling.
Hello, everyone. I'm Zeli Tan, an earth scientist from Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. Today, I'm very pleased to introduce several new E3SM capabilities for improving coastal modeling. For many of you may have heard of E3SM. This is a DOE's Earth System model. That, like other system model, includes 4 components: the atmospheric component, the land component, river component, and the ocean component. These 4 components actually interact with each other in some format. So I will introduce later. And this development actually conducted in 3 coastal projects sponsored by DOE Office of Science. So before I introduce these new capabilities, I want to emphasize 2 limitations in current Earth system model that motivate our model development. The first limitation is that the coarse resolution of current Earth system model limit their usability for coastal modeling. This limitation actually shown in this diagram I borrowed from Leaky work, who is also under workshop. And the top row shows the spatial structure of the current Earth system model, how the land, river, ocean components actually represented in current Earth system model. As you can see, they represented in very coarse resolution, the land river grid cells and 60 kilometer resolution, and the ocean grid cell and 100 kilometer resolution. So you can imagine that and such a coarse resolution is impossible to represent the coastal ecosystems such as coastal wetlands and the estuaries, and also the interaction between the land, river, and the oceans. So we need to, when we represent the coastal process, we must use like a much higher resolution as suggested in this bottom row. Another limitation is that land, river, ocean interactions are not fully resolved in current Earth system models. This is shown in this figure. So this shows that how the current land, river, ocean, atmospheric collector in current Earth system models. The Q stands for the water cycle, and the BGC stands for the biogeochemical cycles. As you can see that although the water cycle right now is closed, the biogeochemical cycles are not closed in current Earth system models, particularly the biogeochemical fluxes between the land, ocean through river networks, and their direct flux are also not represented in current Earth system models. So to address these limitations, our project is developing a high resolution land, river, ocean fully coupled E3SM model. So this new framework is represented in this diagram. So in this new framework, in this new E3SM model, we will resolve the land, river, ocean grid cells using original refined mesh, and we will represent the compound forces of river discharge, tide, and surge. We also can model the transport sediment, carbon, and nutrients in the land, river, ocean continuum. So how we do that? Well, so the first capability we developed is a 2-dimensional high-resolution hydrodynamic sediment model called R-DICO. So this model, for the hydrodynamic side, this model can fully resolve the pluvial and fluvial flooding, and will be used to replace our current 1-dimensional coarse resolution river model in E3SM for the coastal areas. As you can see in this figure, we have configured this R-DICO model to the like Delaware River basin and 100-meter resolution. So the panel A shows that the simulated water depths during Hurricane Irene, this is in 2011, over the whole domain. And the panel B to D actually zoom into 3 specific regions. The top row is a reservoir here, and the middle row, this is the urban area, is here, and the bottom row is the salt marsh, is here. And the right panels show the satellite image of these 3 specific regions. You can see that where they are. And as we can see in the panel C, during the hurricane, a large fraction of this urban area actually was inundated by the inundated. And so one thing I want to remind you that this kind of large scale, high resolution simulation is not possible without the use of GPUs. So this is also the major technical advancement of our development. So in our dipole model, hydrodynamics and sediment dynamics are closely coupled. Specifically, the sediment transport is driven by the simulated water depth and velocity, and from the hydrodynamic module, and every time step, the surface elevation of each grid cell is adjusted according to the estimated sediment erosion and deposition. On the other hand, the change of surface elevation and the grid cells will impact the simulation of hydrodynamics. So in a recent study, we applied this river model with similar physics to the complex flood plain in the Amazon region, showing this panel A. So this flood plain, the domain of this flood plain shown here. So it receives the water and sediment from both the upstream rivers and the downstream Amazon River. Amazon River is here, but the impact of the Amazon River through 3 boundary conditions, this is showing this solid purple line is the dominant. And this bottom 4 panels show that our model can capture the observed water level and suspended sediment concentration in different locations of this flood plain. In the right figure shows that the simulated sediment deposition in this flood plain actually is controlled by the seasonality of Amazon River flooding. So the highest sediment deposition occur in the rising water and the high water period, and the lowest sediment deposition occur in the low water and the falling water period. One thing one feature I want to remind you that most of the sediment actually enter in this flood plain during the rising water period, but deposited in the high water period. This is 2 months later. So the sediment, a lot of sediment actually deposited. There is a time lag between the sediment flux and the sediment deposition, and the sediment trapping ratio of this flood plain is about 20%. So 80% of sediment, when they enter the flood plain, they will flow back to the Amazon River. So right now, this is the inland flood plain. We also right now is applying this hydrodynamic sediment model to the Houston area to simulate the sediment deposition during Hurricane Harvey. So the results may be coming later. We also use this model to quantify the impact of sediment deposition on the carbon cycling in the Amazonia flood plain. So we compare 2 carbon sources to the flood plain soils. One carbon source is from the deposit of organic carbon associated with the suspended sediment. Another carbon source is the flood plain primary production from the wetland plants or the phytoplankton. When we take a look at the Lake area, so Lake area is in this region. So when we take a look Lake area, we found that actually the deposition of organic carbon actually is 1 order of magnitude lower than the in-lake primary production. For the non-lake area, actually this deposition of organic carbon from the suspended sediment is even lower. This is 2 order of magnitude lower than this primary production. So I think that for this case, for the Amazon flood plain, actually sediment organic carbon deposition from suspended sediment actually just play a very minor role in fuel CO2 and methane emission in the region. In the bottom 2 panels, we quantify the distribution of the oxygen exposure time. So this is an important factor to indicate how the deposited organic carbon will be transformed in biogeochemical reactions. So we compare the 2 regions. One is the lake region showing this this red line, and the non-lake region shows the blue line. We can see that there are much difference. So for the lake area, actually the oxygen exposure time is very short. This means that they mostly can go through either the anaerobic respiration, such as the methanogenesis, or they are buried in the soil column. They will stay there for thousands of years. So in addition to this high-resolution river model, we also develop a regional refinement mesh that can help achieve the fine-resolution coastal modeling and the global scale. This is particularly useful for the long-term climate-related simulation, which we can't afford a high resolution river model. We use such as the R-dipole model. So using this model, we can refine the land-river grid cells along the coastline. So in this case, we have conducted an E3SM simulation that focus on the combined flooding in the U.S. Mid-Atlantic region. We refined the land-river grid cells in the U.S. Mid-Atlantic region and 3 to 5 kilometers, and outside that is 60 kilometer resolution. And for the ocean grid cell, we refined that along the U.S. East Coast, that resolution is 250 meter to 1,000 meter. You may amaze that. So how can we do that in this fine resolution? In this case, the ocean model is run on the barotropic mode, so it's much more efficient. So for our model, this ERM is the atmospheric component of the E3SM model. The ERM is the land component, and Mozart is the river component, and PASO is the ocean component. So this gives you some reference if you want to take a look at later. And we also, accordingly, we also develop a river network generation tool that can generate the river networks on regional refined mesh. This is showing the top right corner. So regarding to the objective to close the global carbon cycles, one important contribution we have of our work is to develop a land-river coupled sediment transport model. The framework of this sediment model is shown here. So we all have not done yet. Our intention is to couple this sediment transport model with the ocean sediment transport model, but the data is still under development. So in this model, the sediment process is driven by the hydrodynamic and hydrological conditions simulated by the ERM and the Mozart. And in this figure, the rectangles with the purple color text are the added sediment processes. Specifically, we have developed a soil erosion model for the ERM erosion that can simulate upland soil erosion. The simulated upland sediment yield were provided as a suspended sediment to the river sediment model we call the Mozart sediment. Then the Mozart sediment model will route the suspended sediment from the headwaters to the river outlet. We also have represented the effect of a reservoir on the suspended sediment, so how the suspended can deposit behind the dams. So we have applied this river sediment coupled model to the U.S. Mid-Atlantic region, showing this left figure. The major purpose of this study is to investigate the relative contribution of 3 drivers: land use, land cover change, climate change, and the dams, how they affect the change of river suspended sediment. So our simulation actually covered both the historical period and the future period. The historical period is from 1901 to 2014, and the future period is from the 2015 to 2100. For the future period, we run multiple simulations using different climate scenarios. But for the time being, I have not included any figures from the future period. So this figure just for the historical period. So this is a very busy figure, but let's say the left panels show that how the suspended sediment concentration SSC. We can see our model can simulate the dynamic change of SSC along the river channels. The 0, this is the river outlet, this is the headwater, and also between different decades. So you can see we simulate different decades. And let's take a Susquehanna River as an example. When you see that is the abrupt drop of the here and here of SSC along the river channels, this is due to the existence of dams. But for other rivers that don't have dams, such as the Potomac River and the James River, when we see that the change of SSC between the different decades, this is mainly due to the land use, land cover change, and the climate change. So the right panels show the analysis we used to investigate, to disentangle the effect of different drivers. For the Susquehanna River, the construction of a dam is the major driver of the change of river suspended sediment. This is because the simulation that only include the effect of a dam, showing this a purple dashed line show almost the similar dynamics of the simulation that include a Warner effect or Warner drivers showing this green line. But for the other rivers, the non-user non-curve change, this is a major driver. This is because when we take a look at the simulation, only include the effect of non-user non-curve change showing this blue dotted line. They are very consistent with their trend, very consistent in the trend of the green line. So under our project, so change another subject. So under our project, we tend to greatly improve the coupling between the land, river, ocean components in the E3SM model. So by our efforts, we have transformed the E3SM model from one-way coupling to two-way coupling. Ultimately, we will achieve three-way coupling. So in this figure, the left panel shows the old one-way coupling scheme. The right panel shows the new two-way coupling scheme. For the land river coupling between ERM and Mozart, we added the process is the infiltration of the inundated river water to the soil column, which can raise the soil water table. For the river ocean coupling between Mozart and M+O, using the new coupling scheme, the information of ocean water level can be passed to the river model that can use it to simulate the backwater effects in the tidal rivers. And for the land ocean coupling between the ERM and the M+O, the added process is infiltrated ocean inundated water to the soil column, and also the natural flow of water from the land grid cell to the neighboring ocean grid cells. So in the following slides, I will show the application of this new coupling scheme. For the first one is the land river coupling, and we found that when we use this new coupling scheme, we can improve the simulation, simulated stream flow and USGS gauges over the continental US. This is shown in this scale plot. We can see that the simulation used the two-way coupling scheme have better model scale metrics than the simulation used the one-way coupling scheme. So using the two-way coupling scheme, we found that it also can improve the global inland inundation simulation. So in this figure, the pilot A shows that the observed land inundation fraction from the GIM satellite data. In this figure, the white color is the grid cell without the inundation, and the blue color is the other grid cell with lower inundation, and the red color is higher inundation. So the inland inundation hotspots are the Amazon region, floodplains, and the Pattaya region, and also you can see the Ganges Delta. This is well known, and the pilot B shows that the bias of the simulation when we use the one-way coupling scheme. We can see that this simulation shows the large bias on the global scale, and also when we compare the simulation with the observed inundation fraction from the GIMS data, so they don't agree well. But when we use the two-way coupling scheme, the simulation, as shown in the pilot C, the simulation has a much lower bias, and they compare with each other very well. So for the land ocean coupling, I want to remind you that we have added the infiltration of inundated ocean water and the natural flow from the land to ocean grid cells. So using this two-way coupling scheme, we found that our model can simulate the coastal groundwater table reasonably well. So this is a comparison between the simulation and the benchmark data, because we don't have like observed coastal water table measurements. So pilot A shows that the comparison and the global scale, we can see that the model and the benchmark data agree very well. When we zoom in to this shallow groundwater table region, this is because this is vulnerable to the flooding. We can see that the model still can capture the benchmark, the spatial variation in the benchmark data. So for the pilot C shows the absolute bias of our simulation and the global scale. Except for the region, subarctic region, we think that our model can't simulate the permafrost effect. And also in some region, very dry area, so this area, the ground table is very deep, so our model also doesn't perform well. But for other regions, actually, our model simulated a very low bias. And using this two-way coupling scheme, we run the different climate scenarios and to see how the climate change affected the groundwater table. The major finding is that we found under the high warming scenarios, the rising sea level will raise the coastal groundwater table. So this effect particularly outstanding in several coastal areas, such as the U.S. East Coast, the Mediterranean coast, and the China East Coast. For these coastal areas, actually, the sea level rise will raise the coastal water table by more than 10 centimeters. For the river ocean coupling, we have applied this model to the US to the US Mid-Atlantic region, showing this the left panel. So in the left figure, so in the panel C, you can see that 4 red dots. This is the 4 NOAA gauges. From the downstream to the upstream, they are the Philadelphia, Bradburg, Burlington, and Newport. In the right figure, we compare the simulated water level using the different coupling scheme with the observed water level. So please ignore this orange line, but focus on other 3 lines. The black line is the lower gauges observed water level, and the blue line is the simulated water level using the one-way coupling scheme, and the green line is the simulated water level using the two-way coupling scheme. One-way in this downscale gauges here, this when the tidal signal is strong, such as in Philadelphia, we can see that only this two-way coupling scheme can help capture the observed water level. But in the next more upstream gauges, such as in Newport, where the signal of runoff becomes stronger, the difference between the one-way coupling scheme and the two-way coupling scheme becomes smaller. So before I conclude my presentation, I want to also introduce my ongoing and future work. One such effort is to couple the land, river, ocean, carbon, and nitrogen cycles. So we intended to actually transport carbon, nitrogen in both dissolved form and particular form from the land to the ocean through the river networks. Right now, we have added particular organic carbon, POC, particular organic nitrogen, PON, particular organic phosphorus, POP, and also dissolved organic carbon in the Mozart model. We are now adding the dissolved inorganic nitrogen, such as nitrate and ammonia. Another planned effort is to resolve the delta river networks in the E3SM model. So this is showing this bottom figure. The left panel, this panel A shows the river networks over the delta region in current E3SM. We can see that it's not realistic. Each river can only have 1 channel. So the panel B shows our planned new scheme. So we will resolve the bifurcation feature in the river networks. Then we can represent the delta river network more realistically in the future E3SM model. Finally, we will couple large-scale hydrodynamics with the local physical, chemical, and biochemical process in the river model in a new paradigm. This is showing this figure. This new paradigm will consist of 4 steps, and each time step. In the first step, the large-scale course-resolution river model will simulate the course-resolution water depth and velocity and transport water and water, carbon, and nutrients downstream. And the second step, we will use the course resolution hydrodynamics will be downscaled to the fine resolution meshes using machine learning based method. And the third stage, the detailed physical, chemical, and biochemical models will take in this high resolution hydrodynamics to simulate the source and sinks of biogeochemistry, and the final stage, the source and the sinks will be upscaled to the large scale river model, and they will use that to update their state variables of the tracers. So we believe that we use this paradigm, we can improve the coupling of land, river, ocean biogeochemical cycles. So in the end, I want to acknowledge my colleagues in these 3 projects. They have done a lot of heavy lifting work, And these three projects are DICO projects, ICON project, and the interface projects. So sorry, I just maybe go through this new capabilities very briefly. If you have any questions and comments, you can come to me and have a discussion. And I want to look for your comments and any suggestions for collaboration. Thank you.